everybody's going to be looking at me.
Sneaky, sneaky.
This is huge.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brink of Reality podcast. I'm your host Ryan Brink, here to bring you my very first Survivor David vs Goliath X interview for 2018 season 37, which is really exciting. With Pat Cusack, someone who was medevaced in the very first episode. And I gotta say, probably one of the best first episodes of Survivor we've seen in a really long time. It was honestly fantastic. So can't wait to break that all down. I'm going to do that over the weekends this season. So if you're looking for the recaps, they're going to be coming out over the weekends. We're going to try and get some more former players and stuff on this season to break stuff down and go a bit deeper this season. So stay tuned for those. But again, X interviews will be out on a Friday. Thanks again to CBS and to Channel 9 Australia for setting these on up. I can't do that without those guys. And for you guys who listen as well, your support really means a lot. And thank you so much for subscribing, rating 5 stars, all that stuff, just for listening, and really, really appreciate that. But enjoy my chat with Pat Cusack.
Joe, is there any way for him to continue, or do you need to get him to hospital?
He's a tough guy, you know. Someone as tough as Pat in this much pain does make me concerned that we do need to rule out any serious damage, which we can't do on the beach.
So you're pulling him from the game?
I don't think we'll have any choice. We're going to have to get him to the hospital to get the right scans to make sure there's no serious damage.
Not this way.
On the line, I'm chatting to the first person to leave Survivor David vs Goliath, someone who was medically evacuated in a dramatic moment on the show. Pat, how are you going? And can you tell us a little bit about how that all happened?
Yeah, as everybody's seen, you know, we finished up with the immunity challenge, and we were going back to the boat to go back to our camp. And, you know, as everybody's seen in the scenes, you know, with the storms that were coming in and the cyclones and the wind and the rain, and we were in bad seas, you know, we were in, 15, 20-foot seas. And at some point, I guess we became airborne. And when the boat came back down, it kind of jolted me. And, that's pretty much the last thing I remember until I woke up on a helicopter in Suva.
Wow, that's amazing. Obviously waking up then and not realizing what had happened. What was running through your mind, and how was your, treatment period for the injury you sustained?
My mindset was like, where the hell am I? First and foremost.
Yeah.
Obviously, and then, when Dr. Lucy had expressed that I had been medically evacuated from the game, of course, an uneasy feeling set across me. Kind of went into a little bit of a dark place. It was a dream of mine to get to go play an awesome game, and to have it taken away not by vote, but by a freak accident, so to speak. It was pretty gut wrenching. But spent a few days in the hospital there at Suva, and once I got back to Ponderosa, I just started a physical therapy session through myself, from past times that I, strained my back or whatever. I had some exercises that I started doing, and, in a few weeks' time, I was, starting to get back on my feet, starting to be able to, move, and started, being able to jog again and strengthening my core back up, and, just dealing with all the raw emotions of not being in the game anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can only imagine what that would be like. And I know from listening to First One Out and reading some of your pre-game press, you talked about that, you hadn't really traveled that much before Survivor. So to go to Fiji, a foreign country, and to have this incident happen, and obviously you're on Survivor still, so you don't have, we have very limited contact with your family. How was that, and not having that contact with, your wife and everyone else?
It was tough, being, I've never been away from my family, and, being the first time, traveling outside of the States, not being able to have my wife on my side during that dark time it sucked, to be straight and be blunt with you,
Appreciate it.
My wife's my backbone, she's the yin to my yang, so, we make a one, with us two combined, we're one, and for her not to be able to be there and, take care of me like she does on an everyday basis at home. It was hard, but, it's not that I signed up to get hurt. but there's always that possibility, So we made the decision that I would stay and get the full get the most out of the experience that I could, and fulfill my contract.
Honestly, that's amazing. And I 100%, I'm married myself, mate, so I completely get how important your wife is to you and to everyone else. I want to ask you about the theme of the show, David versus Goliath. I've heard Jeff Probst say that the inspiration behind the show, and I'm sure you've been amazed by this, is you, Pat. Someone who, he spoke about having a really David mentality. And in the first episode, we're seeing him compare you to Allison and really highlighting those differences. What do you feel about that tag, David? And even more so, Jeff having such a high esteem of you, saying that, the theme came from you.
It's heartwarming, I think the theme of the season is fitting to my story, because of all my life experiences that I've been through.
Yeah.
It's truly fitting to the life that I've had. It's always one step forward, two steps back, and eventually, through perseverance and grit, I managed to come out on top in most situations, So it's definitely right up my alley as far as being that I am a David.
Yeah. And
for the whole season to be themed behind my story, it's inspirational, And I am truly grateful for the experience that I got to have. And hopefully I can get to play again, and continue with my story, because my story's not done yet, and I'm hoping that, they see that and the fans see it and the fans want to see more, and I can get a second opportunity.
Yeah, Pat, I'll use an Australian euphemism. It's bloody brilliant. Like, it's great to see how much grit and determination you had out there, and I'd love to see you play again. I think we saw the highlights of what you could do, Pat, out there, but I want to see more, and I think we saw more when you're out there. Obviously, you go into camp. What was your reaction to watching people talk about you? I think that's always really fascinating when you're going out there, you're building the shelter, Pat. You're someone who, obviously, you spoke about it, has this experience in management and building, and you're having people who are commenting about your your direct style towards them.
No, it's inspirational. Again, I'm a carpenter. You know what I mean? That's what I do for a living. So when the opportunity came that in the very first challenge that we had an opportunity to get a shelter building kit, which meant hammer, wood, a couple of different saws, an axe. It makes that job to supply a decent shelter that much easier.
Yeah.
And for me to have the opportunity to, take everybody from, maybe possibly having to sleep in dirt to having them, on an elevated surface where the critters can't get to them and the weather isn't a factor.
No, 100%. Pat, can you tell me about the people you did form relationships with? Because obviously out there you do form bonds straight away, and your tribe seemed incredibly sad when you were leaving. So who were the people you formed close bonds with?
To be honest with you, I formed a close bond with, all my tribe mates, being that we're in that shelter for 3 days, obviously I had closer relationships with a couple of other people, like Carl and Jess, Carl being, just like I am, a hardworking guy, didn't have anything, you know what I mean? Struggled, and in his life, managed to save up enough money to buy his own 18-wheeler, started his own trucking business, and Jess, being that she's, about the same age as my daughter here at home, it kind of gave me a little bit of a comfort of home, because she's the same exact age as my youngest daughter, same size, same hair color, so it kind of gave me a little bit of a at home sense of feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I 100% get that. Someone you mentioned that wasn't giving you great feelings potentially was Nick Wilson. Do you think he would have been the one voted out if you had gone to tribal council?
That's what the consensus was going when we left for the immunity challenge. Myself, myself, Carl, Davey, Lyrsa, Jess, we had a consensus that, you know, Nick was going to go, but we needed, you know, we couldn't go in the tribal with just us 5 and possibly having a 5-5 tie and going to Stones. So we were working on trying to get the nerds to come with us, and, you know, at least for the first vote. You know, we couldn't pull Elizabeth because she's a fellow Kentuckian. We didn't feel that she was gonna, you know, go against her state mate, you know.
Yeah.
So we didn't try to pursue Elizabeth to pull her into our group because, you know, Nick being from Kentucky, her being from Kentucky. So we didn't want to even give her any of an idea that Nick was on the chopping block and her go back and say something. So, you know, we kind of conspired with Gabby and Christian to say, hey, look, you know, if we go to tribal tonight, somebody's got to go home. Who do we think it's going to be? And, you know, we came to the consensus that, you know, Nick, how, you know, in the first 2 days that we were there, really wasn't contributing to camp life much. You know, he was more, you know, taking in the scenery, so to speak. Very cool guy. Don't get me wrong. After the fact of the game, you know what I mean. He's an awesome cat. So, I take nothing from him. But we definitely had plans that if we were the ones that lost the immunity challenge and we were going to tribal, Nick was going to be the first out.
Pat, thanks so much for chatting with me today. I really appreciate it. And honestly, genuinely, I hope that you get that second chance and you're able to tick off all those things that you want to tick off, because you are a fan. You are someone who went out way too early. And Jeff obviously loves you because he made a season after you. So I hope you do get that chance to come back and show us what you really had, mate.
Absolutely. I'm hoping, and I thank everybody's support. I know it's big over there, down under there.
We love Survivor,
you guys got your own series of Survivor also. You know, so it's truly inspirational to know that there's a world outside of my little town.
No, most definitely, mate. I'll let you go. All the best. Enjoy the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man.
All right, that's where I'm going to end my chat with Pat Cusack, the first person to leave Survivor, David vs. Goliath. Definitely was not voted out, and it's crazy to think that he was medically evacuated due to a boat ride on Survivor, which happens constantly. So we heard it in First One Out with Josh Wiggler, which I highly recommend checking out. The amount of storms that were happening there and some of the conditions were just out of this world. So it's crazy to think that our first victim was due to a medical evacuation. I think this has been a great premiere. I can't wait to see what else this season has to offer. So, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the recap that'll be coming and all the other coverage. And again, if you want to find me at Ryan V. Brink on Twitter predominantly, and let me know if you enjoyed this episode. All right, until next time, the community has spoken. I'll chat to you very, very soon. See you guys. Bye.